Hello everyone, my name is Miranda and I'm an independent celebrant, and I am starting to create a series of videos about the wonderful world of celebrancy and what it means to you, to couples and to families. So today I wanted to have a chat with you about what is a celebrant and why do we matter more than you think. When it comes to weddings, I think most couples obsess over the venues, the flowers, the dress, but really, your wedding ceremony is the heart of the day. And it's often the most misunderstood part because often people just choose to have a ceremony similar to what they've seen everywhere else. But that is where a celebrant can come in and can kick your day off on a massive high. And the same goes for funerals. With a celebrant, you have a lot more choice in terms of how you choose to honour that person's life through storytelling and through quiet consideration of that person and who they really were in a very personal way rather than a perfunctory, formulaic way. So, what is a celebrant? Well, a celebrant is a professionally trained ceremony specialist. I have been professionally trained over 13 years ago to write and perform personal ceremonies that are for weddings, vow renewals, commitment ceremonies, coming of age, namings, baby namings, adult namings, adoption ceremonies, funerals, celebrations of life, and so much more. In fact, over the years, I've done all sorts of ceremonies because I believe that every milestone in life should be honoured. And if you look back through history, ceremony and ritual is a part of nearly every culture, which is what I find so fascinating. Unlike registrars or a member of a place of worship, a celebrant's main role is storytelling, it's connection, and it's crafting a personal, meaningful ritual that is unique to you. What we do as celebrants is we meet with you, we get to know you, we get to know your values, your personalities, or the personality of the person who's no longer with us. And we write a completely unique, bespoke script. There's nothing cookie cutter or formulaic about it. You won't be asked to choose vows from a list or to compromise on your story. We guide you through a potential ceremony structure, but there are no rules. We give you options and we create something that is completely unique. We can help you with writing your own vows, perhaps as a surprise to each other. We can help you with selecting readings, and we can help the person performing those readings, whether it is in a funeral, a celebration of life, a naming, or a wedding. We can also choose symbolic elements that are deeply meaningful and symbolic for that person or couple. And those little special surprise touches or elements of audience participation. And on the day, we hold the space, we create the tone, we set the tone for the rest of your day. We help you to calm your nerves, and we lead the guests through a ceremony that is meaningful and creates the right atmosphere for the rest of your day, whether it is going on to a wake or having your wedding reception and celebration. With a celebrant, there are no rules and there is complete flexibility. So there are no restrictions on the location of your ceremony. It could take place outdoors, in your garden, in a registered venue. For funerals, it could take place in a crematorium or even a hotel or your own home or another place that is special to you. Increasingly, families are choosing to do that. There are no limitations on the wording. There are no restrictions on what you can and can't say. So if you want to include elements of your faith or your culture, you can. And that's certainly with an independent celebrant. We will explore the difference between a registrar and a celebrant, a member of a place of worship and a celebrant, and the difference in celebrants between a humanist and an independent celebrant in further videos. So with a celebrant, there's no prescribed structure, there are no restrictions on content, music readings, or what you can and can't say. It's designed specifically with you in mind. You can incorporate elements of your culture, your family traditions, your faith. You can include your pets, even your children, your nods to heritage. If you want to include humor, you can. If you want it to be more sentimental, calm, and meditative, you can. It's completely designed with you in mind. Just to briefly contrast this, so registrars have a legal only focus, and so their ceremonies will be very prescriptive, they'll be very formulaic, you will pick from lists, and there'll be very, very limited personalization. A clergy is more faith-based and there would be a religious structure. There might be a little bit of room for personalization. It's a great option if you want to be married in a church and have something that matches your beliefs. But what if you can't get married in a church for one reason or another, and you do want to have a ceremony that incorporates your beliefs? You can still do that with a celebrant in a different location. And celebrants offer complete freedom. Whilst there's a traditional structure to, for instance, a wedding ceremony, you don't have to keep to that structure if you don't want to. If you don't want to walk down the aisle, you don't have to. You don't have to be given away. If you want complete freedom in terms of creativity and emotional and fun storytelling, then the celebrant is the way to go. I don't write any cookie cutter ceremonies. For me, I would get bored if I had to write cookie cutter ceremonies every day. I love the creativity that comes with getting to know your story and incorporating that in a way that is meaningful to you. So let's just dispel some common myths. It's not about just reading a script as a celebrant. It's not only for non-religious couples. Yes, I do a lot of non-religious ceremonies, but I also do plenty of ceremonies that are for people with beliefs. We don't just read a script, we love crafting that script and then performing it, bringing it to life in a way that engages everyone so that they are fully engaged for the time of that ceremony. They're not dropping off. You won't find anyone dropping off in my ceremonies. And yes, it can feel as official as you want, but by separating the legal aspect of registering your marriage with a registrar, you then have complete freedom to have a ceremony that is where the world is your oyster. And again, we'll talk a little bit more about how you do your legals in the UK or in England and Wales, certainly at this point later on. And celebrants aren't all the same. I always say, work with the celebrant that you feel gets you, that you vibe with, that feels right for you. There's a celebrant out there for everyone. Celebrants showcase moments that feel personal, that are heartfelt, that are meaningful, that are emotional, that are humorous and funny. And it actually kicks, for certainly for your wedding, it kicks your wedding day off on the right note from the get-go, so that people then go into the party full of love on a high, rather than having seen something perfunctory that they've seen loads of times before. And we set, like I said, we set the tone for the entire day. We help guests to feel involved and we put you at your ease. If you are working with a registrar, very often you will not know who is performing your ceremony until the day before or the day of. And I know for some of the couples that I work with, they've specifically worked with a celebrant because they want to get to know the person presiding over the biggest day of their life. They want to bring someone into their ceremony space who isn't a stranger, who's familiar, who makes them feel embraced rather than going through a bureaucratic process. So if you are looking to be married by someone that you've got to know, who doesn't feel unfamiliar, who puts you at your ease, who eases your nerves, that is a celebrant. You know, your ceremony is the first thing that your guests experience that day, whether it's a wedding, a naming, or a funeral. So make it count. We can ignite your ceremony with emotion that carries through the whole day. We make it the highlight, not the formality. And we aren't just someone who speaks at your ceremony. We're the person who brings your story to life And very often people may not have heard your whole story. They may not have heard how you met, what you first thought about each other, what makes you tick. They may not have heard the life story of the person that they're coming to honour that day. And it's always really interesting when I finish a ceremony and people come up to me and say, I never knew that about that person. Thank you for sharing that. Or that was amazing. That absolutely has knocked my socks off. You know, your love is unique, whether that's the love between a couple or the love between family and friends. So your ceremony should be too. Thanks so much.